Ooh, you want to hear his take on the helicopter crash with Iran's president?
What is it? How can that be a take? What's the take?
All right, well, it's certainly a take that exists. So hear me out. Here's my official story. Excuse me. Here's my official theory: helicopter was cyber attacked (hacked) by the CIA, then remote flown into a mountain. Also, there was controlled fog to create diversion and cover-up. Then, weather report for that day was conveniently deleted so nobody can investigate it. This was done to escalate the war.
That's such an insane thing to say! All of those things are insane!
I've told them several stories of Haley. Oh yeah, you were there when I told them about the time that they made. This is the same people. Remember when we were at Mitch's house for the first time, and I told the story about how they made me pick cotton?
Oh yeah!
Yeah, this is the same family.
Oh yikes!
Yeah, so
they made you pick cotton.
I'm distracted by these insane things being said.
Longest rebound ever.
Yeah, no, it's worse than that. The story is worse than that, Xenos. It's like they were doing like role play and like Green was like the slave.
I was.
Like it was bad. He was telling us, I was like, oh, they made you pick cotton. So what? Like that's not like the big deal. Because I remember when I was in like elementary school and stuff, they like literally gave us like cotton inside the bulb.
Do you want me to tell the story to Xenos?
And they were like, yeah, hang on, no. I'm in the middle of something, so you know. So they literally gave us like a thing of cotton to be like, hey, so you know how it's like, see how sharp this is and like how annoying it is to pick? Like imagine doing that like all day long in the sun. You're like, oh wow, slavery's really bad. But it sounds like they like had like people like different kids lording over the slaves in this daycare, which seems really bad to me. How old were you
like
when this
Indiana.
happened?
I was less than 10.
Oh my.
Yeah. So I mean, I was old enough to know what was happening. Too young to kind of like fully like say something about it or understand it fully.
Yeah, comprehend. Yeah.
So, to give you a little bit of a background, Xenos, in case it wasn't obvious, I grew up very intense karate.
Well, yeah, I know who you are.
So with that being said, there was a period in my life where my parents, they aren't like this anymore, thank God, that they were like super into that, like didn't like to be around any modern things, like not to the degree that Amish was, but they wouldn't let us watch TV, they wouldn't let us do a lot of different things, they wouldn't put us in public schools, we were homeschooled and been in homeschool co-ops. And that's where the story kind of starts. So my pastor was our history professor. I would put a lot of, the professor's doing a lot of work. The word professor is putting in a lot of work.
The history of the Earth from 6,000 years ago to today.
So we were discussing slavery, and he's like, "Well, guys, I think the best way that you guys can learn this is by experience." And so he pulled out like a couple bags of those like little cotton balls that you can get like at Hobby Lobby. You know what I mean? And says, "All right, Kane, you're the slave."
Of course, they grabbed the Mexican kid, right?
And so
they knew.
And so his son, the professor's son, was the master, and he threw the balls on the ground and says, "Pick it up." And so like.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So I had to pick up the cotton balls. I picked them all up, put them back in the bag, and they're like, like that wasn't a whole lot of work. And so they threw it down, and I picked it back up again, and the process continued a couple times. And
that's pretty classic.
It hit a point where I was just like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I refuse to work. And so they put me back in the slave house. Which was a storage closet with no light.
That's the most. I forgot about that part. That's extremely fucked up.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I was just like sitting in this dark room waiting for my mom to pick me up, because I would stay there for the day while my mom worked. Yeah. And so eventually my mom came
we
home,
had
and they're like,
we had a
Kane?
half day at slavery. Come pick me up, Mom.
And so
fuck?
like, where's Kane at? And they're like, oh, he's in the house.
He's in the hot box.
And I was like, Mom! And then my mom, who
Went ballistic, I'm sure.
she lost her ever-loving mind.
Yeah.
She was like, what the fuck did you do to my kid? And I didn't have any more classes with that professor.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Dude, that is fucking crazy town, bro.
Oh yeah, my mom tells the story better than anybody else.
Well, yeah, because she was old enough to have a fully formed memory of it.
Oh my god, that is so funny. Like I said, when I was in like elementary school, they handed around like a couple of like cotton pods. I'm like, see how annoying this would be to pick all day? And you're like, oh wow, that would be pretty terrible. Not, all right, half the class are slaves and half are the masters. That is so bad. So many parts about that are bad.
So
I don't know
the
what
guy-
they were fucking thinking.
So that's one of the things that that I could post on r/chew off my chest that everybody would be like, no, there's no way that happened.
Oh my god, dude, they would lose. Yeah, that does sound like a fucking writing prompt. I'll be honest, it does sound like a fucking Reddit writing prompt.
Until someone else from your school confirms it.
It would still get like 50,000 out of that stuff.
Fuck it, you son of a bitch!